I call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Council, October 12th, 2021, regular meeting. This is a delayed opening due to some technical issues. A new link has been provided to the public and been posted on the borough website. I wish all to stand for a moment of silence when we can remember all those who have passed or we're concerned about of our town or our families, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Statement of compliance with Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meeting Act by notification on January 8th, this location, date, and time to the Ridgewood News and the record of posting of the same on a municipal bulletin board and borough website, and filing of notice of the same with the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Here.
Councilman Canito,
Here.
Councilman Gaudier,
Here.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Here.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Here.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen,
Here.
and Mayor Papaleo.
Here. Okay, so we have first up approval of minutes of the Mayor and Council regular meeting of September 27th, 2021, and approval of minutes of the Mayor and Council closed session September 27th, 2021. Could I have a motion from Council President Canigo and a second from Councilwoman Bastide?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. It is not debatable. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Canito,
Yes.
Councilman Gaudier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we have two topics for discussion. Oh, I should mention to the council and to the public, due to a conflict, our borough attorney, Mr. Sarlo, will be delayed. He should be arriving within the next 5 to 25 minutes. So if any item on the agenda requires a legal opinion, we will then postpone that item to a later time. We will only be dealing with matters in the agenda that do not require legal support. So let me make that clear. All right, so, and this has to do with that we do the legal holiday, move the council meeting from Monday to Tuesday. Okay, for discussion, update on capital projects. Ms. Apertola.
Yes, good evening. I'm pleased to advise the governing body as well as the general public that many of the projects we had on our 2020 capital projects list have been moving forward. A lot of equipment has been ordered, such as vehicles for the police, their body-worn cameras. Tonight's agenda has the radios listed as the phase 1 for the communications upgrade. Fire department had their turnout gear, radios, and rescue pumper ordered. DPW had an SUV, 2 Mason dump trucks, a chipper, a backhoe, and a sewer camera ordered. The sewer camera has been delivered and the backhoe should be here within the week or so. For facilities, concrete work for the Little League Building and Memorial Park was authorized at the last meeting and it's scheduled to start at the end of the month. Fire Company 1's roof is being replaced. We had an architect draft the bid specs and a contract was awarded. The materials are currently being ordered. The document scanning project, we had almost 800 boxes of records inventoried. 500, a little over 500 remain active, but we've had almost 300 destroyed. So we will have a proper records retention system moving forward. And although it wasn't in this capital budget, you also have on the consent agenda a resolution authorizing the receipt of bids for the library's flex room project for their new multi-purpose room and the generator and HVAC system. And I'm sure our library director and some board members would like to speak about that in a minute. The one thing I highly commend our DPW superintendent was the recommendation to include emergency capital repairs. And I'm glad that the governing body concurred with the recommendation, because these repairs helped a lot with, this line item has helped a lot with repairs that we've had to undertake due to Ida. We've had to replace a muffin monster in our Wayne pump station and some items in fire company 2.
Ms. Apertola, not to interrupt, but would you please explain to the public what a muffin monster is?
Yes, from what the DPW superintendent told me, it helps break down a lot of the materials before it gets into the sewer lines. It is very expensive, but highly needed, because a sewer break costs monumentally more than the muffin monster. And it's just fun to say also muffin monster. Every time he mentions to me, I can't help but giggle.
So
And
we commend to the public the idea of not flushing down the toilet things that they should not put in the toilet, because it has to be dealt with somewhere along the line. And so it's an important concept to keep in mind. Go ahead.
yes, literally along the line. And with our other infrastructure projects, in the beginning of the year, one of the first bonds was for the sewer replacement in Manchester Road that was completed. The sewer line replacement was completed, and everything had to settle before you milled and paved, so you wouldn't have a sinkhole. So milling and paving is expected to take place at the end of the month. Our Riverside Cooperative Program, we were one of the first towns to be milled and paved, and several streets were included, such as Lafayette, Elizabeth, Adams, Madison, Center, Kimberly Way, Eastbrook, Coles Court, 6th Avenue, and Park Avenue. Reservoir Avenue was a CDBG project. CDBG is for the Community Development Block Grant Program that is federally funded. And it was milled and paved within a week. It was great work done. Our contract for repaving the North Train Station parking lot was awarded. It's just a matter of scheduling for receipt of the materials. And we're currently in the bid spec drafting component for our ADA ramp and sidewalk replacement. And I have requested, and he's here tonight, our wonderful borough engineer, Robert Costa, to provide an update, much better than I can, on Continental Avenue as well as KBG.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, public. Good evening. Lisette, that explanation of the muffin monster was outstanding.
I gotta thank Jason for that. And he's on vacation, so I'm thanking him a
For
lot.
2 weeks. 2 weeks he's gone. As far as Continental, we had a meeting out there last week with obviously the chief of police. I see him. He was in the left. I think he's in the right now. Chief Walker, the mayor, myself, and obviously the council president. We're moving forward. At this point, the one structure that we're waiting for will be in this Thursday, excuse me, on the south side of the of Continental. Once that's installed, that'll be finished. The north side by the ambulance building, all of that'll be completed, and then we'll get ready to mill and pave. So right now, if everything goes according to schedule, we should be milling and paving just before Halloween, or literally the following week right after. And then it'll be milled, paved, striped. So Continental will be pretty much 100% complete. And obviously there's work going on in the parking lot. We'll try to do it simultaneously to get that done as soon as possible, but that's probably going to be a couple weeks afterwards. But we should have this project totally complete before December 1st. As far as the fields, samples were taken, soil samples were actually taken today. Those results will not be back for at least 2 weeks. And again, we're going to err on the side of caution. And basically with all the flooding that we had from the storm a few weeks ago, and just keep in mind what is upstream of us. We got a bus garage, New Jersey Transit bus garage, and we have the PSE&G gas facility upstream. Plus, there's numerous private businesses along that stretch. And again, what's going on in the Milford, plus all of the runoff that we've had off the roadways and everything else. We just want to make sure it's safe for the children to come back on that field and play, not to expose them for any dangerous chemicals or gas products or byproducts of that. So if the public can be just a little more patient, we should have the results back in 2 weeks. And let's hope that they come back below any standard by the NJDEP. And if they do, reopen the field and play ball.
All right, does any member of council wish to ask for more information or clarification from Mr. Costa or our BA, Ms. Apatola?
Just wanted to mention the Company 2 repairs. Lisette, I think you were going to mention that.
With Company 2 repairs, our DPW director has been working with Assistant Chief Caridi on that, and they're waiting to finalize what is being submitted for insurance coverage. The main factor is a matter of getting contractors and suppliers out to look and provide estimates on the damage. We're in competition with everybody else.
Councilwoman Bastidt.
Thank you, Mayor. A few residents at the river cleanup on Saturday were saying that they were told or had heard that regardless of the tests that come back, that KBG was going to be ripped up and had to be redone in its current form. Is there any validity to that? Can anybody answer that?
No, I think they may be confusing the pending project, the open space grant for the fields. Simultaneously, we're still moving forward with that. Rob's office has been conducting the surveying, so that way his DEP guy can submit the line of interpretation application.
Correct.
To then submit whatever the required permits are for DEP to authorize what can and cannot be done in that site. But that's a project happening at the same time that we've been working on for the past 6 months.
Right, but we haven't submitted to DEP yet, or, I mean, there's nothing out to bid or anything else to redo the fields at this point. So if that's what the confusion is, that we're not even close to that yet.
Councilwoman Bastidt, a follow-up?
No, thank you.
Any other member of council? All right. Mr. Costa, if you can hang around, because when we open to the public on any items of the agenda, there may be questions from the public. Anything else about capital update? Ms. Apatola.
No, we've done a lot, and we are moving forward with planning for not just next year, but what we anticipate for at least the next 5 years as we work on our budget. It's budget season on the back end for us.
All right, great. Ms. Apatola, if you would move to the next item on the agenda.
Okay, the next item is the Diwali event. We may have to reserve discussion depending on any questions that may arise when Mr. Sarlo arrives. But there was an invite for the event. I believe it's this weekend, and it had an indication with the borough logo that it was a co-sponsored event with recreation. At the same time, there were fees listed for entrance to the event. So to prevent any confusion, the recreation involvement was for the supplying of, I believe, tables and chairs, as that is the co-sponsored part. But to eliminate any confusion, any flyers that have gone out since, I would say about Thursday or Friday, don't have the borough seal anymore. The fees being assessed for the event are the fees that are being incurred by the event organizers for the food, the entertainment, all of the rental, and so that way they could be a wash. But the fees are not being assessed by the borough, and it's not a revenue generating project event for the borough.
Any member of council wish to ask a question or for a comment?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, Councilwoman Bastidas.
So the Department of Recreation and Cultural Affairs works very hard to embrace all members of our community and work to support their efforts. And my understanding is that the cultural affairs piece of the Recreation Department was simply trying to do that with partnering with the Diwali organizers to promote the event, as they have with a lot of other events. So I'm disappointed that we've removed the borough logo from this. I think that there's an opportunity to clarify what was just clarified, but still allow the borough's Department of Recreation and Cultural Affairs help promote this program.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
I'd like to say, Mayor, that,
Oh, sure.
thank you, Ms. Apatella, for explaining what the situation is to the public and Mayor and Council. And thank you for your comments, Councilwoman Bastidas.
All right, anyone else? All right, well, then we'll move on to opening comments, public comments on any on the agenda, including the two items we just spoke about. Could I have a motion from Councilman Gaudier and a second from Councilwoman Kaufman to open to the public on any item on the agenda only?
So moved.
Second,
This is not debatable. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastidas,
Yes.
Councilman Kenigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes,
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we are now open to the public. If the public wishes to be recognized, our Councilwoman Kaufman will moderate recognizing different individuals.
So we're on a different system tonight. Just raise your hand and I will, and unmute yourself, I guess. That's what we're gonna do. Cindy, bequeath.
Hi.
name and Address, yeah.
Yes, Cindy Bequeath, 745 7th Avenue. Thank you for the opportunity to ask some questions here. I have two different topics to ask about. One is in regard to my next door neighbor who has since moved.
Cindy, I gotta stop you. I don't believe that's on the agenda. You can absolutely bring that up later on in the meeting when we open to public comments on anything. But it's my
Sorry.
job to maintain the meeting. So what about your second item? Is it about something on the agenda?
Well, the other item was about the Continental and the work done on Continental.
That's on the agenda.
Okay, so I have a question regarding those ramps that are sticking out into the street.
Sure. So,
So, wait.
go
So
ahead.
let me just finish 1 second. So when,
No, my fault.
I'm sorry, when initially, I don't know, a year or two ago, when we were talking about ingress and egress from the parking lot that was going to be put in, the information was we don't want to lessen, make a new lane on one side of the street, which would lessen the amount of traffic that went east-west on Continental by people having to turn in from either direction from Continental into the parking lot. And so now I see these ramps, and in effect, they're doing the same thing by lessening the width of the road. So I would love an explanation, please.
All right, I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Costa, and then, of course, I might jump in at the end. Go ahead, Mr. Costa.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mayor. Hi, Cindy. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Basically, the idea is to join the park together. Obviously, we're redoing the parking lot itself. The ambulance corps parking is being taken away where they had their own private entry and their own private parking spaces there. And what's going to happen is there's going to be striping out there as soon as the project's done. And again, the mayor and I and the councilman last week met with the chief, with the representatives from traffic and safety. Let the project be finished. And I think the public will get an idea of what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is calm the traffic down on that street. There's a tremendous amount of traffic that goes back and forth from Kinderkamak, probably to Spring Valley Road in Paramus. So the idea is slow it up and then join the two parks together, but it's in no stretch of anybody's imagination is that going to impede the ingress or egress at the parking lot, if that's what you're asking. We moved it away from there and we basically set it in between the ambulance corps and that driveway, but it's not gonna, there's, I don't know what reason it would be to impact it.
No, it wouldn't, I wasn't talking about impeding the entrance or the entrance or exit from the parking lot. What we were talking about was the fact that they were, initially they were talking about, it was brought up to potentially put a right-hand turn lane if you're going west-east on Continental to go into the parking lot to keep the traffic off of Elm. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what you remember? Do you remember that at all? That was brought up as a possibility to, you know, to be able to keep the entrance and the exit on Continental. And we were told no, because they didn't want to slow the flow of traffic down. Now, I applaud the fact that you want to calm traffic down on that street.
We're going to calm it down. We are
Okay,
going to
so-
slow it down and we're going to calm it down.
So I'm, you know, if you're going to do that, could you put one on my house, please, on 7th Avenue to stop the traffic from speeding up down my street?
You'd have to ask 7 people that are on the Zoom tonight that question. But once,
When-
I don't remember ever doing a dedicated left into the parking lot. There were so many plans done. There were so many different plans, probably 10 to, or in excess of 10 plans. Right now, the plan in front of that's being implemented tonight, the majority of it is being paid by the state of New Jersey. And we will have this project done sometime in November. And I think once it's done, I think the public is probably going to see what we tried to accomplish. And I think it's going to make it a much, 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 much safer park and a safer roadway. That's the goal. And I hope, and I'm pretty sure we're going to achieve that.
So the ramps are going to stay out that far?
The ramps are going to stay out that far. So slow down, go slow when you're coming down the block. And once you see the striping in, it's going to quell the traffic. And I think it's going to be a much easier scenario to cross. And again, a lot of this is being driven by how the people cross from one side of Continental to the other coming out of the park. You could do anything you wanted to do other than put 12-foot fencing along that area to make people go to the corner on
Right.
Elm.
Agreed.
But reality
Agreed.
is it was never going to happen. So
Agreed.
what we tried to do and what we designed is, okay, if people are going to go there, then this is what you have to try to make safer. And that's the ultimate goal. And I think when the project is complete, the striping is in, everybody sees what it is. And ultimately with the flashing beacons to cross and with the help of, where's Chief Walker? With the help of some enforcement until the public really gets the idea that you can't speed through here anymore. I think it's going to work out to the benefit of the entire community.
Are you going to do something like put reflectors on those poles
We are.
also?
We are, yes. There'll be reflectors in the street, there'll be reflectors on the curb. And again, the lighting in the parking lot, everything will come together.
Okay,
and you'll
thank
see
you.
the final product. All right.
Thank you.
How'd you do with flooding, Cindy? Because you didn't call me, which is a good sign.
No flooding.
There you go. There you go.
It's a good thing.
So we fixed that problem. I'm glad.
All right.
Is there any other member of the, Cindy, do you have something else? You can
No,
bring up
that was
the-
it for me right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other member of the public wish to offer a comment or ask a question?
Or Preeti, do you want to tell us about Diwali Day since you're all here?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Diwali Day is just like the India Day we had celebrated, and where the mayor and the council had allowed us to keep it in partnership with the recreation and cultural affairs. And under the cultural affairs umbrella, that's what we are trying to hold. We don't want to limit it. We have done it past 3 years, but we would like to open it to the whole of our River Edge community. It is such a beautiful, diverse community. And a lot of people come up and say, who are not from the Indian community, hey, would you invite us to Diwali? So then why not? Why not open it to the public as an event to participate, to enjoy the festivities, to enjoy the diverse culture, but it's not a fundraiser. We are not a charity organization that we can hold it for free. The DJ costs money, the lights cost money. We have to we are doing it outdoors only for a reason to keep everybody safe during the pandemic times. We're not holding it indoors. So we are thankful to Carolyn to provide us tables and chairs, but the chairs aren't enough. So we are renting chairs, we are renting lights to keep us a little ambiance, a little safety lights so that there is enough light in the park. Food, Indian food is expensive too. So everything has a little price tag. So we don't have a bank that associates with our Indian organization, like our Indian community over here. Whatever revenue we generate from the ticket, it's put in towards the event. So, however it might be, and we just have to like keep a little RSVP. We have right now 111 or 112 people who've already registered for the event. They have already paid. And they are looking forward to celebrate. Some of them are, you would be happy to know, are non-Indians from our community as well. So we would really like, I have my team members, Rushta over here and Saroja over here, if they would like to add something, that we really would like this event to be under the umbrella of cultural affairs and the borough. Rushta.
Sorry, hi. I just wanted to add that I really appreciate Preeti. I don't know if she's the one who's connected myself to everybody in this town, and she's made a network. And this is my first year attending the event, but I am grateful to be able to meet different families. And Diwali is the festival of lights. So it's all about happiness and, good overcoming evil. So it's a big celebration, especially in my hometown. So I'm glad that we can celebrate, and I'd love to spread this with the community and be part of the cultural affairs if possible. I'm not sure how it all works in our town, but I know everyone's friendly, so it'll be a lot of fun.
All right, great. Thank you. I'm glad you shared your thoughts. Anything else? No?
Please come for our Diwali.
Okay, yes. Michelle, is there anyone else? You are muted, Councilwoman.
Sorry. If anyone else has a comment or a question, raise your hand. If not, we'll close it to the public. Okay, I don't see anyone else.
Okay, could I have a motion from Councilwoman Montesano Cohen and a second from Councilwoman Kinsella to close to the public?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kamiga,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
All right, at this time, Councilwoman Kaufman, can you tell me, is James Carroll present?
No.
All right, so we're not going to move that forward. We're going to then move to appointment and personnel changes. After I read into the record, could I have a motion from Councilwoman Bastide and a second from Councilman Gaudier to the following personnel change. Item number 8. Approve salary and title change of Anthony Naim, Department of Public Works, from equipment operator to step 1, $64,630 to general repair 2, step 1, $66,159, effective December 1st, 2021.
Moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kamiga,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
For public notice, we have monthly meetings on, that are available to the public. If they're interested, they can stop by the clerk's office. One is a monthly report from the tax collector, from the library board of trustees, from the building department. So, and they are respectively a September, October, and September report. Item number 10, second reading and hearing on ordinances. Could I have Councilwoman Kaufman move and Councilwoman Monsanto Cohen second to open to the public on the following ordinance? Ordinance 21-25, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge, Chapter 33, entitled Fire Department.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Before we go to roll call, if our VA, our business administrator, Ms. Apratella, could just give the public a synopsis and abstract so that they know what we're opening to.
Ordinance 2125 is a complete revision of the portion of the code regarding our volunteer fire department. Updates carried over involving attendance, chief duties, duties of the other officers, elections, discipline, leaves of absence, classifications. So this was fully reviewed by our fire department, and we implemented the changes in ordinance format. It had been reviewed by our borough attorney and our labor attorney. There were a couple of typos from when it was introduced, but it was nothing substantive that would bring it to the level of an amendment or inputting a new ordinance. So it has been fully vetted by all parties. We've exercised our due diligence, and we're here for second reading.
Okay, very good. So now we've had a motion and second to open to the public. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kenigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen. Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Sorry, Judy, yes.
Very good. Okay, we're open to the public. Is there anyone who wishes to speak or make a comment? Please allow yourself to be recognized from Councilwoman Kaufman.
Cindy?
Hi. So again, thank
Cindy,
you.
say your name and address again. I'm sorry to say.
Cindy Bequeath, 745 7th Avenue. So this is in regard to, does not affect me directly. It affects me as a homeowner in River Edge. And it's in regard to improperly given COOs done by inspectors, the inspectors here in town, or inspector here.
So Cindy, that's not germane because we're open to the public on the ordinance. Questions or
I'm
comments?
sorry, I thought you said you were open to the public. I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. This is, by law, we are required to be open for the public comment per ordinance. Okay,
I looked away for a
okay, all right. Michelle, you have the comment again.
Okay, I don't think anyone has any comments.
All right. All right, so could I have a motion from Councilwoman Kinsella and a second from Council President Kenigo to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kenigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
All right, so now we are ready to adopt. I want to stop for a second, and I just want to verify the presumption that we're working on. Mr. Sarlo.
Yes, Mayor.
Mr. Sarlo, we had a technical issue at the beginning of the meeting. We had to issue the link again, a new link, to be able to begin this meeting. We put it on the website, we put notification on the website, and I made an announcement to the mayor of River Edge website. Was that sufficient for us to continue doing the work of the council tonight? Or is there some concern that we need to address before we move forward with this ordinance?
No, Mayor, I think you've taken every step that you can possibly take to get it out there at the last minute with regard to the new link. So I have no issues with continuing with the meeting and with the adoption of this ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Sarlo. I appreciate that legal opinion. All right, so now we are at moment of adoption. Could I have Councilman Gordier move and Councilwoman Kinsella second to for ordinance 21-25, an ordinance amending the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge, Chapter 33, entitled Fire Department?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. It is open to debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kenigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, now we're up to resolutions 21-281 through 21-293. Does any member of council wish to hold out for a separate vote or for comment or questions, any of these resolutions?
Mr. Mayor, just a question on 21-282, please.
Sure. So would Ms. Apatella please, what is your question?
I recall that we had waived the outside duty fee for some individuals who had worked on Kinderkamak, and we had, as I recall, we had stated specifically that that waiver was because of the location of this particular house on Kinderkamak, and that wouldn't necessarily apply to others. So I'm just wondering how this came about. Is there a special circumstance that we need to address? Are we changing the council's position by allowing this to happen? Are we setting precedent of some sort?
Ms. Apatella.
This was a request from a resident and that was didn't go into many specifics. It was just the rate of the outside duty was provided an economic impact on her. And she just requested for not so much the duty to be waived, but for the charge to be reduced because she did need outside duty officers to monitor the traffic control. I don't have any other specifics with regards to this request.
So I share the concern with Council President Kenigo about making such an exception. I leave it to the council if they wish to pull it out for a separate vote or table it. But I do also share a concern, especially with so few details. I leave it to the council to debate or for a motion to be made that we vote on it separately or that we table it. If not, it would be amongst the group of 281 to 293.
I move to table it pending additional information as to why the waiver is being requested.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second to table 21-282. It is open for debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, the motion is to table. A yes would to table it to another meeting, to the next meeting, and to authorize our BA, Ms. Apatella, to seek further clarification. At that time, I would recommend that it be placed on for discussion prior to it being voted on as a resolution. Is there any objection to that stipulation?
None.
All right, is there any debate to that stipulation? All right, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kenigo,
Yes.
You just said yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we are now back to 21-281, 21-283 through 21-293. Is there any other that a member of council wishes to ask a question or pull out for a separate vote? Councilwoman Kinsella.
Can 21-283 be explained?
Sure. Ms. Apatella.
Yes, municipalities are required to conduct tax sales. It can either be done in person or state statute authorizes electronic tax sales to be held online, just like we're currently auctioning vehicles online. But before anything can be coordinated by our tax collector, the governing body has to adopt a resolution each time we're seeking to use electronic means to conduct the tax sale, because then it generates a whole bunch of other statutory duties that the tax collector must follow.
Thank you, Ms. Patel.
Any other member of council would like to ask a question or pull out for a separate vote? Okay, so could I have a motion from Councilwoman Kaufman and a second from Councilwoman Bastide to move 21-281 through, no, not through, 21-283 through 21-293, since we tabled 21-282. Michelle?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it is open to debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kenigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Could have our finance chair, Councilwoman Kaufman, move the payment of the bills 21-294 and one member of the finance committee second.
And second. At a regular meeting of the mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on October 12, 2021. Be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge approve the following expenditures. Current fund, $1,934,893.09. Capital fund, $14,110.06. Animal control fund, $302.40. Trust other fund, $4,869.75. Payroll fund, $15,754.24. Developers escrow fund, $250. Self-insurance trust fund, $110.55. Recreation trust fund, $1,295.29. So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, then, a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kenigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
All right, is there any new business? Is there any old business?
Mayor, Chief Walker has some background information on the outside duty fee waiver request. If you want to
Chief.
consider it now.
Go ahead, Chief.
I didn't know, once you guys tabled it, I don't know whether you want me to offer it now or keep it as a follow-up. It's up to you.
Well, we've technically already tabled it to the next meeting, Chief. So if you can write a memo and that could circulate with the council, I
Sure.
think that might be an efficient way of dealing with it at this point.
Okay.
Is the council comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Any other new or old business? All right, Cindy, 1 second. We are now I need a motion now to open to the public. Can Councilwoman Montesano Cohen make a motion and Council President Kanigo second to open to the public?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? No, I'm sorry. It has to be roll call. Roll call.
Councilwoman Baskey,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
yes.
Councilman Godier,
yes,
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Cindy, name and address.
Are you sure? Am I okay down this time?
It's the way it goes. Sorry.
Sorry, I apologize. Cindy Bequeath, 745 7th Avenue. So this is in regard to something that occurred with my next door neighbor who lived at 351 Webb Avenue. And I'm going to preface this with, I actually sent I think it was an email to the council and the mayor, because I was upset that the borough is not taking ownership of something for the work of their borough employees. This was specifically about the home inspections that are done for the closing of a home. And my concern is that if the activity is not done the same all the time and that everybody is impacted the same way, then we have a bad reputation to get through in our town. So we are a friendly town. I know we've had people come up and ask for things and we always listen, but this time there was no listening, nothing done about it. And pretty much a hard stop. So my next door neighbors bought their home on Webb Avenue closed on April 9th of 2020. The COO, the borough inspector passed their home with the COO. So they were able to take possession of the home and move in. When they went to sell their home a couple of months ago, a month and a half ago, whatever it was, and the inspector came out, they moved to Turkey, they're gone already. They had a job offer and had to leave. So the borough inspector came out, and two of the things that were done that impacted the sale, that impacted the closing of this house, was that borough inspector failed them for a sidewalk that was raised, and it was raised about 1 inch. And I have pictures, and they sent pictures as well. And the other was that the apron of the driveway between the sidewalk and the street had a crack in it, and it was extensive. I mean, it was big. However, the problem is that when they bought the home last year, this was not flagged. Neither one of those things were flagged by the inspector. So when they went to sell their home, they didn't realize that they had to do this. No one ever told them, and it was not flagged at the last inspection. So they had to get, they sent an email to Ms. Appertella, copied the mayor about this improper COO that was done last year, and why should they be having to take the brunt of this when this should have happened, the payment and the fixing of that should have been done by the people they bought the house from. The administrator said that they couldn't do anything about it and they must continue to do what they said, what the inspector said, which is to pay the money and fix it, or the house wouldn't close. So I went with him to the borough office. We got they were wonderful there, and they said that they could get an estimate and pay to fix this, even if it couldn't be done. They were on a very tight time frame, but they had to pay for it and show payment of it, or they couldn't close on the house. So they did get a temporary COO. They were able to close, but he had to pay $1,950 to get this done. So what I'm getting at is, this was not the fault. This was the fault of the borough employee who inspected the home last year. And I find it, I just don't like that, the fact that there was no give and take by the town at all when their borough employee, who is supposed to be overseeing by the town didn't do their job correctly, and now they weren't going to be allowed to close, or they had to pay nearly $2,000 in order to leave, in order to sell their home. And when looking through the bylaws and in our town, it says that the council can investigate any activity that happens in the municipality. The administrator should review any complaints concerning the functions and obligations of a borough and the borough employees by any resident. And she did that. However, she said, according to the law right now, and I have the email that she sent them, according to the law, that she said there's nothing she could do. They had to fix it. The town will hold no responsibility for it. And I firmly believe the town has a responsibility to take care of this. If not, meet the owners of that home halfway.
Okay. So Lizette, do you want to address it first, or you want me? Why don't you address it first, and then I'll chime in, okay?
Okay. The gentleman, the property owner, did contact me via email to inquire about it. Based on my review of the record, the CO was issued last year. It was signed off by the proper borough officials, and the inspection this year determined that the slab had to be replaced. I reviewed the ordinance, and there was no provision for any waiver. I had to go by the documentation that is part of the official borough records, and I do not have the authority to make exceptions or circumvent any borough ordinance. The gentleman did come in. He did make the arrangements with the building department, obtained the permit, and resolved his issue. Our technical assistant at the building department went above and beyond and provided the gentleman with assistance throughout this whole process, including knowing his tight time frame and giving him the temporary paperwork in order to complete the transaction.
Yeah, I was there. I went with him there for that.
Mr. Sarlo, do you have any comment or advice to offer at this time? You may not.
Well, Mayor, if the facts that are being presented are accurate, it is something that probably should have been rectified at the first time the COO was issued back in April of 2020. Unfortunately, now you have a second COO that is being issued, and now these deficiencies are being flagged, and it can't just now continuously be passed on to the next homeowner. So it has to stop here. Now, as to reimbursement, I mean, the homeowner can certainly, if they feel that a borough official did not do their job properly, and that they were wronged monetarily, they can certainly file a claim with the borough insurance carrier and or obviously institute legal proceedings. However, not certain that this mayor and council would want to go down the path of agreeing to pay the homeowner the amount for the repairs, or entering into some type of settlement with them based on the potential liability or the potential negligence of the building inspector. And I'm not even certain there is negligence there. I'm only giving you a comment on what was being presented here without talking to the building department. But there is potential relief that can be addressed by the homeowner, and that's obviously seeking their legal avenues against the borough. I obviously can't say how or what, because I would be defending the borough potentially at that point in time. So, but I understand the frustration if it should have been caught at that time. Homeowners are relying on the expertise of the building department. Unfortunately, doing real estate closings, I've seen this happen. Not a lot, but I've seen this issue come up.
So, Mr. Sarlo, if you're, so they have a picture that's dated last year prior to their closing that shows the exact same
Cindy,
picture as now.
sorry, now you're going to be asking legal advice from our borough attorney and he
No,
can't.
no,
answer.
I'm not. I'm not
Okay.
asking for his legal advice.
Okay, go ahead then.
So Mike, if, maybe I don't think I am anyway. So
I
if
think you are,
there
but
is
say
a,
it
if there
out
is a
loud anyway.
picture stating, I mean, if we showed a picture to the borough council stating that, yes, here, I mean, they're not trying to put something over on us, but I'm concerned that if we're not going to, I mean, how do we protect homeowners
So
from
let
the
me
same thing
intercede
happening
here.
again?
Cindy, let me intercede here. The process has to be that the request is denied. The payment must be made. And then if the homeowner feels that this is an unjust action, they must then pursue it with a claim against our insurance. And then our insurance company will decide whether there is merit in that claim or not. And then if they wish to go further, they may do so. But it is not, it would be a mistake for this council to start arbitrarily deciding whether or not this incident is correct or that incident is correct. We just certainly are, we're not equipped to start adjudicating those sort of decisions. And it would be dangerous and foolish for us because once we open that door, even to something that, according to your testimony, seems very obvious, though we're not admitting it is obvious because that would not be our place, especially since we've not been there, we've not seen it, nor do we have expertise to determine whether the damage should or should not have been flagged. So the process must be the process because we have an obligation to the people of River Edge, taxpayers of River Edge, not to make the borough vulnerable to litigation that would follow if we started making these sort of exceptions. This is very different from waiving a police fee if an event's happening at a local church. This is something very, very different. What's being suggested is that a borough employee either failed to fulfill their duty or was intentionally negligent. And so that's not something that this body should ever be adjudicating. We will look into these sort of matters. We will certainly investigate it, but we can't adjudicate whether we should be giving relief to the homeowners as they sell their property. Am I wrong, Mr. Sarlo?
No, and Mary, I mean, I don't know if this happened in River Edge or one of my other towns, but there was a situation where the police officer issued a summons. I believe it was for an unregistered. They pulled the car over, and it was either unregistered or uninsured. And based on that, he had to have the vehicle towed. And the gentleman went to court and was able to prove that the ticket was wrongfully issued, and the ticket got dismissed. And then he come in front of the mayor and council and said, "Hey, the police officer towed my car. I was in the right. I want the borough to pay for my towing of $250. And obviously it was, well, no, we can't do that. We don't have that ability or that authority to, as the mayor and council, to do that here, as you just explained. And as I explained, there's a process if you want to pursue it, that process. So this goes above and beyond, just the actions of just the potential building department. It's everything. And it's every borough department, and there's a process in place. I understand the frustration, certainly do, and you should see if it's the same inspector that issued both COs. Maybe it was two different inspectors, and see what basically happened here. But unfortunately, I would advise against the mayor and council authorizing any type of reimbursement. I don't believe you would have that. I wouldn't say you don't have that authority, but I would advise against it, as you also indicated.
So at, I think it was a year prior to them moving in at 355 Webb Avenue, when that homeowner moved in a few years ago, and the previous owner was not told to fix the sidewalk because of a tree that pulled the sidewalk up, and the DPW was instructed to come over and fix their sidewalk. So there's already a precedence here, just so you know.
So
Everything is not sent.
Yeah, but that may be as a result of a borough tree lifting the slab of the sidewalk. And as a result, that's the borough's responsibility, right? It's a borough tree. And I don't know the facts of that case, but that may have been, hey, it's a borough tree that's causing the sidewalk to be uplifted, and therefore we're gonna take it. I don't know, but that may have been the facts of it. So I don't know that. I'm guessing.
Yeah, the way this town has always worked, when you sell your home, you have to have a sidewalk that you have to fix all sidewalks. So when the COO, when the inspector didn't catch that at this home, the people moved in and the sidewalk was up and it was bad. The council allowed the DPW, told the DPW to come fix it. So now you've already moved into that territory. So I just wanted to state that this isn't the first time that a borough inspector just happened to be at two of my neighbors' homes. So,
Okay.
and they have paid for it. I will talk to my neighbor. They're already overseas, and see what they want to do. They can make their own decision. Maybe Lisa, if Ms. Appertello, if you don't mind, to give me the name of the town, the information I would need should they want to contact the town insurance company, how they have to go about doing it, and I will forward it to the Cervez family. If you could do that, I'd appreciate it. So they can make their own decision. And then last on this really is, so what is a homeowner that's selling their home or moving in? I mean, how do they know what the borough requirements are that they should be on the lookout for so this doesn't happen? Do we do anything proactively to make sure that our inspectors who are under borough guidance inspect their homes properly? Is there a way we can mitigate this for future sales? And that's what I would just ask. You don't have to give me an answer now, but I would ask that be under consideration.
So what could be under consideration, what I believe some other towns do, is the inspector goes and has a checklist, right? And he checks it off, and he keeps a copy, and he provides a copy to the seller or whoever is getting the COO. And that may be something that potentially, now there's a checklist of all items he's looking at, and is he checking off sidewalks in good repair, not in good repair? And that may be then the homeowner or the seller can then take a look at this checklist and say, well, wait a minute here, you just approved, and I'm talking about the first sale, you just approved that this sidewalk's in good shape. What about that 1-inch lift slab there? Would that fail it? So I have seen in other towns where, and it creates a record, right? It creates a record of what the inspector did. It's like almost doing a home inspection, right? They give you a list. So that may be something the borough, in consultation with the building department, may want to take a look at, is when the inspector goes out, he has a checklist, right? He's going to look for certain items, and he's checking off pass, fail, pass, fail, pass, fail. He gives that to the homeowner, and now the homeowner has a copy, and he could say, well, you just passed, or it would be, well, obviously the seller is, if he gets a pass, and even though he shouldn't, that would be, he wouldn't care about it. Now, the building department is only talking or discussing this with the seller, not with the buyer.
Correct.
So obviously, when he passed the buyer, the seller, the first time, obviously the seller's not going to say, well, wait a minute, what about that slab? Is that my responsibility? So I don't know the checklist, if that then obviously would be helpful or would pass to to the buyer. But I have seen, like, a checklist in place, and at least then there is a paper trail that if this ever occurred, the borough can, or any homeowner can open that and say, well, what happened here? When you did this CO, what was your inspection and what did you pass or fail?
Is the buyer entitled to get that COO report?
Well, there's no report that's issued right now. There's no report that's issued. And I believe it's just a visual inspection. You could check, maybe the building department does do a written report. I'm not certain on that. I know other towns do. They have a checklist and they do it. I'm not certain if River Edge does it. Other towns just go, they do their inspection and they issue the COO. So
I'm just trying to figure out a way to protect both the homeowner, the seller, and the buyer. So maybe that we could come up with something to give
in all fairness,
sellers and buyers.
In all fairness, the building department will not know who the buyer is unless on the application for the COO, maybe they're putting down buyer's attorney's address or something like that, and then they're sending that to them. That would be the only thing I potentially, to get it to the buyer, because that's the one, obviously, if you're passing something that should be failed, potentially the building department would not know the buyer's information, because that's not in any applications that I've seen that I'm aware of. But that would be the only way to get it if the building department, in consultation with the governing body, wanted to do some type of written checklist.
Okay, I think we've exhausted this issue, unless, Cindy, you feel that there's more information you need.
There is not.
All right. Ms. Abertella, if you can follow up with our building department and find out for the council's benefit and who was the original issuer of the COO, who was the current issuer of the COO, and then and also look into the idea of the checklist with the building department and see if we use it or if we don't, and if so, how effective it is. All right. Any other member of the public would like to offer a comment or ask a question? Okay, could I have a motion from Councilwoman Bastide and a second from Councilwoman Kinsella to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
and Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, just before we move to council comments, if there are any, is James Carroll present? Michelle? Councilwoman Kaufman? Yeah, all right. So are there any council comments?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilwoman Bastide.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank Director of Recreation and Cultural Affairs and the members of those two committees for their help in putting together River Edge Day. It was tremendous to be back at Memorial Park together with everybody, and I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'd also like to just recognize and acknowledge the 44 volunteers that were at KBG Park on Saturday, including our own Councilwoman Michelle Kaufman, to clean up the river. They collected an astounding 8,000 pounds of debris from the river. A lot of that having to do with Hurricane Ida, but it just highlights what can end up in our waterways if we're not careful about our stormwater and taking care of disposing of debris properly. So I just wanted to recognize everyone's efforts, especially the chairwoman of the Environmental Protection Commission, Laura Hookstrait, who organizes that event for us every year. Thank you.
Yes, that's wonderful. The math teacher in me wants to make sure the public know that 8,000 pounds is 4 tons. It's a lot. Anyone else want to offer a comment? Councilman Montesano Cohen.
Yes, I just want to remind the public and the council that this is Restaurant Week until October 17th. Eat Local. It's sponsored by the Rec Commission, and there are 2 upcoming events also. The River Edge Run is October 16th, with a check-in at Cherry Hill School at 8 a.m. And there is a Halloween in the park on October 24th at 2 p.m. at Memorial Park.
Excellent. Any other member of council would like to offer a comment?
Mr. Mayor.
Council President Kanigo.
Just very briefly, since the Continental Avenue project had gotten brought up earlier, and Mr. Costa was nice enough to talk to us, I just want to assure the public that this project isn't something that we went into lightly, and we've had several committees and individuals. We've had all our professionals chime in on it and work very hard. And even after the initial installation of the new crosswalk and the metal poles to protect pedestrians as they stand in the new crosswalk. We all went down there. The chief of police was there. Of course, Mr. Mayor, you were there. We had other professionals, DPW, we had traffic and safety, and we stood at that site for a long time. We not only watched the traffic, we discussed it further. We made some tweaks. This is a very thoughtful project. And I think once it's done, as Mr. Costa said earlier, it's going to be a benefit to the people of River Edge. It's going to slow down traffic in that area. It's going to make it safe for our children to cross, be it on foot or by bikes. And hopefully it will help avert disaster. So I just wanted to commend everybody who's been involved in that project and let the people of River Edge know that they're in good hands and thoughtful hands and hardworking hands. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Any other member of council? All right, I certainly, and I'm sure the other members of council concur with everything that's been said. Chief, we'll be seeing you in closed session, yes? You have that link? Only because I want to be sure we have all the links.
If it's another, I never got the passcode and from the last time, as much as it was sent to me a couple of times. Indira, actually, thank you for sending me both. So if there's a different passcode, password, then I would need that.
Okay, so Councilman Kaufman, I'm sure will resend that to you. If you don't get it or you're having difficulties, please contact her or me. We're going to adjourn for 10 minutes after we do the resolution to go into closed session. So we hopefully can reconvene at 8:15. And Chief, if you can't get on by that time, certainly please make sure. Mr. Sarlo, the same thing for closed session. Is there any other professionals, Ms. Apatella, that would be coming to closed session?
No.
No. All right. Very good. Could I have a motion from Councilman Gaudier and a second from Councilwoman Montesano Cohen on resolution 21-295, a resolution to go into closed session and exclude the public. Closed session docket number 21-10/12-1. Attorney client privilege, worker compensation case, JIF, and 21-10/12-2, personnel vacancies. Could I have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Baskey,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Gaudier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
All right, so we now need a motion and second. Could I have a motion from Councilwoman Kaufman, a second from Council President Kanigo to adjourn the public session?
So moved.
I can.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Baskey,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Councilman Gaudier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
All right, everybody, 8:15, well, let's make it, if you don't mind, let's make it 8:20. Is everyone okay with that? 8:20. See you then. Thank you. Good night
Hi,
to the public.
everybody.
Good night.